Jai Srila Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Acha. Assembled Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
And Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Mahusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. Keshananda Prabhu Ki Jai.
And Jai Srila Bhakti Bimal Avadhut Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai. Sri Paramananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Bhakti Lalita Ki Jai. Nityananda Das Ki Jai.
Oh, Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Mahusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. All assembled devotees Ki Jai.
Get a reaction. Hey Krishna.
And where's, Bhakti Bimal Avadhut Maharaj's chair is empty. But
He's Avadhutan as we speak.
Где же все кресла Авадхута Махараджа?
Don't worry, he'll show up on his...
Не переживайте, можно начинать.
And Nityananda Prabhu, you need to mute. What? Mute. Okay. Maharaj, are we still hearing you?
Yes. I hope so.
Okay,
I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So happily devotees are gathering together, and we are gathering together at the Pushpa Samadhi in Govardhan and also the Pushpa Samadhi here in Vila Govinda.
Beautiful.
On a sunny, chilly afternoon in Italy and probably a little bit warmer in Govardhan. So, as usual, we are happy to just wait a few minutes as the devotees gather together.
Yeah.
Some are driving. I see Veda Vita Yoga Studio is driving. We are Krishna Kantar and Munindra Mohan. They're actually on their way. They're on their way to Rome after doing Parikrama of Govardhan. They have
Krishna
some
Kantar
duty
и
in Rome.
Манидра Прабху, они по дороге в Рим.
All right. So let us begin. We'll start first of all with just a very short invocation. And as Srila Goswami Maharaj will confirm and let us know, actually everything of Vandanam is in one mantra. This Vandeham mantra, which we chant at the beginning of the regular Vandanam prayers in the songbook.
Yes.
So just as the devotees gather together, we can chant this and make an auspicious beginning, and one or two more I expect will join us in the next 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Vandeham
Sri
Guru Sri Gopal Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathan Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha Jai Shri Kartik Parikrama Ki Jai and Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Anu Giriraj Ju Ki Jai and Jai Shri Gurudev Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai and Jai Shri Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi, the temple of love and affection in Govardhan, where we are gathered, Ki Jai. And Jai Om Vishwapad Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, founder Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, our guardian and guide, Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai and Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
So Maharaj, I think by now the devotees mainly are gathered together. Others can join us. We'll arrange rickshaws for them. And we also see that we have Maheshwari and Janvi, who were yesterday doing Parikrama of Govardhan Hill.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And remember, Maheshwari is our resident Brijbasi, Mathurabasi, So some special respect we have for her, that she appeared from that divine soil and is continuing with her parikrama of Sri Mathura, Vrindavan, Govardhan. Because then when Mahaprabhu asked Raghupati Upadhyay, what's the best place of all places? He says that, that Puri Marupuri Bura. Right? Shama, what do you say? Shama Meva Param Rupam. Shama Sundar is the supreme form. Puri Madhupuri Bara. And here it's called, Mathura is called Madhupuri, which is interesting. It's like land of sweetness, right? Just as Guru Maharaj said about Gaur. Gaur comes from Gur. When we say Govardhan, and what is it? Gaur Mandal and Gauradesh. So he said like Gur, sweet, the land of sweetness. And what does that mean ultimately? Madhura Rasa. So we think, why does he say the best place is Mathura? Because Mathura Mandal, as we know, that includes Vrindavan, Govardhan, Radhakunda. So very happy to have her. I would like to see them. Yeah. And the light of Delhi, Sandeep Krishna Prabhu. Keep their mic on. Most of the time, keep Mahusudan Maharaj's mic on.
Okay, we're back with you.
You're back.
Yes, happily with you. So I believe, Maharaj, we have Sugandha Kanti Devidasi with us. Is that correct?
And yes, and her daughter, Nalini Kanta, and she's a young girl. How old is she? 10. All right, 9, 10-year-old, and her mother and her, they like very much to engage in Nam Sankirtan and also the worship of Srimati Tulsi Devi. So I asked them if they would, Hare Krishna, just do our little kirtan for us the evening as we go to the first place.
Okay. So as we're going to the first place, all right, yeah. Maharaj. So
yeah, this is the little kirtan.
Right, so let us start then. Oh, very good. Now we can see you. Hare Krishna. So what we'll do, we'll give our obeisances to Gurudev. We'll give our obeisances to Anu Giriraj. And then what we'll do is we'll go down the street now with kirtan. And Maharaj, should we take a rickshaw to Govinda Kunda and continue from there?
I think we're at Govinda Kunda still.
Okay, then let us just pick up the kirtan from there. Let us be there and start with the kirtan now.
Right.
So maybe Sugandha Kanti may like to sing for a short while, Maharaj. You can direct them kindly.
So Sulakshana, tell them to start singing.
好了，老爸，你都在声，那我们开始吧。Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
They're just going to sing.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, 他们唱。Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 再来一遍。Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 我们唱一个南无南无给大家好不好？
Little bit of Tulsi Maharani, because Tulsi Devi is always going with us everywhere.
好。南无南无 Tulsi Maharani Vande Maharani.
Chinese
Namo
girl.
Namo 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 Narayani Namo Namo. 然后我们一起唱一个
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Gurudev.
Haribol.
Nitai Gaur Haribol, little drum.
Nitai Gaur Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So I just say a few words. Can I be heard? And you can mute your mic.
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. So Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, he said in a very affectionate, sweet, and mildly humorous way, which is very often the way he expressed things, he said, after interacting with us, meaning, devotees from the Western world, he gave this look like he said, after my connection with you, he said, nothing can surprise me. Nothing. There's nothing you could do that would surprise me. Right? And he said, the only thing that surprises me is that they're chanting Hare Krishna in China. So this was for the surprise and the delight of Srila Bhakti Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj. And Sita Devi, just before we begin, you can unmute her mic and bring her on the screen. It was Yudhamanyu Prabhu, Seva Vikram, who from the very beginning, when we started preaching about Srila Guru Maharaj, he and Jivana Didi came and joined with me in San Jose, and everything's sprung out of there, and Guardian Devotion Press, and so, and Yudhamanyu Prabhu in the distribution of Guru Maharaj's conception. He was even physically attacked in South Africa by people who shall go nameless, And when that news came to Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, they were so, on the one hand, upset and sad, but on the other hand, are you finding her? Yes. Okay. On the other hand, they were so inspired. And they said, he's willing to, he's putting his life on the line to promote Guru Maharaj's conception, right? Because there are some people opposed. It's always that way. Read Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Krishna. This dramatic tension is there. And sometimes it says that friction between the attempt of the pure devotees and others, there's this friction that it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and then Krishna comes out. Right? So we always celebrate that moment and everything leading up to it. So, and recognition of the valor of Yudhamanyu Prabhu, Guru Maharaj and Gurudev said, we should give him a title. So, Seva Vikram. And if you see also in Bhagavad Gita, you know, Yudhamanyu Seva Vikram Kunti Bojas, like it's a, Vikram is there, means courageous, brave, valorous. So they gave that title to him. And he is always a vanguard devotee, the avant-garde. He always wanted to push into the new place. So after so many years, he got the inspiration to take Srila Guru Maharaj's conception with the sanction and under the auspices of Srila Gurudev, brought Srila Guru Maharaj's Krishna conception to China. So we always bow to him, and the Chinese, he has a special place in the hearts of all the Chinese devotees, and his main assistant is Sita Devi, right? And she is here this evening. And if she, I don't know, I know he took the devotees to Vrindavan. I don't know if he, to Navadvip. I don't know if he took them to Vrindavan, but if you can just say a little something, Sita, about when Yudhamanyu Prabhu took you on Dham Parikrama to visit the holy places, and share something of what that means to you.
Dandavas to Goswami Maharaj, Avadhut Maharaj, and Bhakti Lalita, and all the devotees. Yes, I remember he was saying, I would never go to India without Chinese devotees. This is recent years. So it seems like he hasn't been there for a long time. Then he has this idea, like bring, Chinese devotees there. So he said, I wouldn't go there without Chinese devotees. So he insisted and said, you guys should get a passport. Let's go to India, because you only see me in this family and I'm low. The standard is too low. You don't know what real devotee is until you go to a real temple, go to India. And we had not so much idea what is that.
Yeah.
So
no
he's
one
very humble. But when we get there, all the devotees, welcome him so nicely and give him hugs. And then we feel like, we didn't treat Yuda so well, like real Gurudev.
Yeah.
And too much offenses because he's too humble. So it's really, really wonderful to went down now to Eve.
Yeah.
That's the Perkma. He was sick sometime, but he still walk with us.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Jai, thank you so much.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Yudhamanyu Prabhu Seva Vikram ki jai. Sri Sita Devi ki jai. And, he taught all the Chinese devotees as an English teacher. And I would hear from Sita and some of the others, like sometimes when they would speak English, they would say something and I'd turn my head because it's a Yudaism. It's like, I said something and Sita said, that's big. And I go, well, wait a minute. Who says that's big? Yudhamanyu always said, that's big, and other things, fired up, big, and so many things, so glorious. And he told me when he had to leave China, if he had to swim back there to the Chinese devotees, he was prepared to do that, right? And the faithful followers like Sita Devi and the others, he warned me, actually, when I got involved with Chinese disciples, it was like a warning. He said, Maharaj, understand, once they accept you, it's forever. They won't ever let go. So many sweet things he told me about the Chinese devotees. And if people are wondering, like, why we keep sort of revisiting this Chinese theme, it's as Yudhamanyu said to Sita and the others, he wouldn't think of going without them. And the way we started this particular parikrama was something like 7, 8 years ago. And it was that I wanted to take my Chinese disciples to India, like Sita is saying, so that you see how the Bengali Vaishnavas behave and their, their sweet interaction and the, like people say, if you want to understand what religion is, you have to go to India. And Mark Twain, the famous author, said, of religions, India is the only millionaire, right? So many gods, goddesses, etc. But also the Guru Maharaj would say, Gopi Bhajan, which is what we're really talking about here, 24 hours a day. He said, not an hour on Sunday or whatever the other one, 5 times a day or however many it is. He said, not like that. He said, 24 hours a day. That is Gopi Bhajan. And you only get a glimpse of that, truly, when you visit India. And you see the intensity. And we know when you go to Vrindavan, near our Seva Kunja, like, I generally think I get up early, 4, 3:45. There are people up at like, 2:45. They're already starting, They've got their kirtan going and they're out in the street, and I think, gee, I'm sleeping in and it's 3 a.m. I think I better get up and start moving. So you only see that 24 hours a day kind of intensity, and 24 hours a day, every day, lifelong. We see that in India and our beautiful God brothers and God sisters there, and like Yudhamanyu Prabhu, that humility, that although they're superior by samskar, like Maheshwari sprung out of the soil of Mathura, and others and Gora Mandal, they, like in San Jose, this Dr. What is his name? Banerjee. Arun and Alpa Banerjee. He was literally, by occupation, a NASA rocket scientist. The thing, like, well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. He was a rocket scientist for NASA. That was his job. And he would come to the San Jose temple there, where us before, and then Kum Didi, and sit on the floor and take instruction from us. He's a rocket scientist from NASA, and sit there and listen very humbly, that kind of thing. Mahaprabhu's teachings, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tororapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtani. If you want to go on with this Hari Kirtan, this Krishna Kirtan, you have to follow these 3 principles. It's a profound statement from Srila Guru Maharaj. So Gurudev was so happy whenever some news would come from China. And Yudhamanyu Prabhu, we know, also part of his sweet nature, not only is he humble, he's like the most paranoid person you've ever met, right? So he's always wondering, like, if Gurudev really approves of what he's doing. And he'd come in my room, so, Maharaj, does Gurudev really want me to be the, and he'd go, yes, he's very pleased, really, are you sure? I'm 100% sure, And then, so one time, the last time he was there, before Gurudev left the world, I said, come with me, after I told him 5 times, yes, Gurudev's totally behind your Chinese preaching, then I opened the door and took him to Gurudev. And I said, Gurudev, are you pleased? Like he's sitting on, I said, are you pleased with Yudhamanyu Prabhu's preaching in China? And you're, yes, Maharaj. He needed that. And Gurudev said, the last thing I'll just say, he said, what I like about him, many things. He said, but he only asked one question. Do you want this? That's all. He goes to Gurudev, do you want this? Just like that. Does he want this? Yes, he wants it. That's all he needs to know. Then he does it. He delivers. Yudhamanyu Prabhu Seva Vikram ki jai, and the Chinese Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. And speaking of things that request things to be done, we hear that Gopal had a request for Madhavendra Puri. Something he wanted, a few requests actually. And so here we are, we're still at Govinda Kunda. And remember, Govinda Kunda is not for us a stop along the way. It is the destination, right? Sri Gupta Govardhan and Jai Gopal. There's Gopal. And that, this is Nitya Gopal. But this other Gopal, he revealed, he said, actually, I'm known as Giridhari. That lifter you talked about of Govardhan Hill, that I am him. Right? So we're told Madhavendra Puri, first of all, there's, as Maharaj mentioned yesterday, Brahma Madhva, then to Gaudiya Sampradaya. The full sweetness of Krishna conception could not be expressed in the Madhva line. It has certain parameters. Right? So Madhavendra Puri, Guru Maharaj said, the pontifical position of Madhavendra Puri, pontiff means like a bridge. So he's the bridge from the Madhva line to this new line, in one sense, of the Gaudiya line, Gaudiya Darshan, the Rupa Nuga line of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But to sort of set the stage and lay the foundation, the groundwork for the Chaitanya tree, the, Gauranga, Bhakti Lata Kalpataru, described by Kaviraj Goswami and Charitamritam. First, we're always told, before Krishna comes, Guru Varga comes. Guru Varga, Guru doesn't only mean teacher, but also means mother, father, auntie, uncle. They're part of the Guru Varga. So the mother, father appear, but also the aunties and uncles. We were talking earlier about Paramananda Puri and Swarup Damodar and others. So Madhavendra Puri appears before Mahaprabhu. And he's the bridge from the Madhva line to the Gaudiya Sampradaya. And just as we're doing, he would visit different holy places. Right? But just think, if we're very fortunate as we do this, we feel something. We're shy to admit that, and we don't want to overly, but something. Sometimes by the grace of our Guru Varga and the grace of the Dham itself, something comes to us and we're moved or we're touched, and in that sense we're reassured of the divine nature of that soil and that place. But what to speak about the higher devotees? What do they experience? Like yesterday, Mahusudan spoke very beautifully about the Dan Keli pastime, and we're told what Radharani and Brajagopal, they sell milk, so they have to cross the Jamuna to go sell their milk, and then Krishna's there saying, no, you have to pay the toll. And Kaviraj Goswami mentions this to say that what Krishna likes is to see her reaction to being obstructed. Her supremely feminine movements and facial expressions when Krishna's teasing her. And it's a very high thing, and we can't go into that. But suffice to say, a point is made by Kaviraj Goswami saying, this gives Krishna millions of times greater joy than actually, than contact. Is just seeing how the response from Srimati Radharani and her sweet opposition, which Guru Maharaj said her nature, or Bhamabhav. So, but how do so we hear that and think, oh, that's so beautiful, it's so sweet, someday. But we're told in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that Nityananda Prabhu, one day he went to the house of Gadadhar Das. Right? Like we know, Gadadhar Pandit, heart, Gadadhar Das, halo. Right? Heart and halo, Bhav and Kanti. So he goes to the house of Gadadhar Das. And we're told Gadadhar Das is totally absorbed in Gopi Bhav. So he thinks himself a gopi. So much so he's carrying milk pots on it, and like Radharani, he's going, anyone want to buy milk? Is there anyone who wants to buy milk? So just like imagine what's going on in this scene. Like that's going on in the house. Nityananda knocks at the Nityananda knocks at the door. Gadadhar and Saraswati Thakur makes the point, just like Saki, Beki, Sahaji Ism, this group of people, they dress up and he's saying, look, he actually is a gopi and he doesn't do that. Right? It's a mood, Gopi Bhav. It's a particular kind of heart. So when he's there, Nityananda comes in, we're told beautiful Bal Gopal deity, and he takes the Gopal deity and he's hugging the deity. So you've got Gadadhar Das and full Gopi Bhav, Nityananda embracing this Bal Gopal deity, and then Madhavananda Ghosh, one of the all-time great singers in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, are told, when he sings the glories of Nitai and Gaur, said, wood and stone melt. Wood melts. So wood, just hearing that. So he starts singing that Dan Keli pastime. And we're told, when Nityananda Prabhu hears this, he's so moved by it, right, that he starts dancing in the most enchanting way. And from his vision, where he's experiencing, he's told, 8 different types of sattvika bhav, ecstasy, 33 types of all these things. And when Nityananda looks at someone, they get filled with that. So as he looks to it, he's dancing, and when he looks at a devotee, they become filled with this divine love, all triggered by his remembrance of that song and that pastime. Jai Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj Ki Jai. So when Madhavendra Puri Pad is traveling to these holy places, that how meaningful it is to him, we can, by the reaction of Nityananda Prabhu, we can get some insight. And that's why Madhavendra Puri, he rarely eats anything. He's taking Krishna Nam on parikrama, going to these various holy places, meditating on the pastimes there. If someone offers him something, he takes it. If they don't offer him anything, that's fine too. He's, like Majtita Magata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayan Chaschamam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. By Hari Kata and internal culture, he's feasting on the nectarine substance of Krishna Kata. But he arrives at Govinda Kunda, and as we told yesterday, those pastimes are there of Giridhari lifting the Govardhan hill, and he's meditating, and the local ladies come by. They use that water for various purposes. They come with their pots and collect the water from Govinda Kunda, and they notice him there. And so after a while, a cowherd boy shows up, and Madhavendra Puri looks, very beautiful, charming young Gopa. And he said, the ladies from the local village, they're told me to bring this milk for you. Oh, he said, yeah. He said, Gopal, I live in the village nearby. No one fasts here. So they saw you and thinking, you need something. They sent me with this milk. And I have to go herd my cows, but after you finish, I'll come back later to collect the pot. Right? And so Madhavendra Puri is thinking, oh, how wonderful. But the boy doesn't return, and he's saying, such a wonderful boy I saw. He falls asleep that night, and there in a dream, that same boy comes, and he can see it's Krishna. And he said, my name is Gopal. I was Govardhanadari before. And as mentioned, Maharaj, the grandson of Krishna, his deity, Garga Sangita predicted, said 4,108 years later, he will appear. So he's saying, there was some difficulty and with the local situation. So the pujari hid me in the forest in the kunja, and I'm there and I'm tired, hot, thirsty, hungry. If you and some of the local people come and take me, I've been waiting for you, Puri, Madhava Puri, I've been waiting for you. So then he wakes up and thinks, oh, he's thinking, Krishna came to me and I couldn't recognize him. But he also gave me some seva. So he tells the local people, the simple-hearted people, that Gopal's out here in the kunja, I think I know where, please come and help me. And they're like, of course, So they all follow him. And then when they find Gopal, he's covered in dirt and they clean him off as best they can. He's very heavy. It's that Srinathji. They get some strong men, carry him back. And because Gopal said, make a temple on Govardhan Hill, they put a slab there, one stone slab for the altar, another one for the backing. And then they have the Abhishek ceremony, just as Indra with Surabhi and Airavata, the milk and the water. So then they do that, and they put nice oil on Gopal, and they make so many nice clothes, crown, everything. And then they start offering mounds of prasadam, little like miniature hills of prasad, anukut. And Madhavendra Puri is organizing this. The word spreads to the surrounding towns about this extraordinary thing, Gopal's returned. So all the village people come and they think, oh, well, we want our village. We want to do like the puja on Monday. We'll do Tuesday. We'll like that. So they have different groups. They're offering so much prasadam. Wealthy people are giving Hare Krishna. And there were Hare Krishna. And the dogs also could come and participate. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Madhavendra Puri gets some Bengali Brahmins and trains them how to do the Seva Puja. Everything's going on fine. Even though they have these big feasts, Madhavendra Puri will only eat at the end of the day. He takes some milk like he did initially. So everything's fine. It's going on this way for like 2 years. And then he dreams and Gopal appears to him again and he's saying, oh, Madhava Puri, everything's very nice, but still too much hot. Burning, I haven't got relief yet. So what I want you to do is to go to Puri and get the first class sandalwood and camphor and bring that back, and you'll make the sandalwood paste with the camphor, which is sandalwood's cooling, so is camphor, the two fantastic combination, and relieve this temperature that I have, after so long. And so, although he's old, and it would put him in great difficulty, very happily he's accepting the seva. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his songs that for a sincere servitor, what would normally be considered a burden, like a particular responsibility that you're asked to do, service, he's saying that is the joy of the devotee. And the hard work that accompanies that and the burden of that responsibility, he said, that's my joy. I don't think of it as a burden, or you can say it's the classic expression of a burden of love. Right? So he's happy to do this, even though it means walking so far, because that's the method of transportation, foot, So then he goes on his way to Puri. And one thing I want to say, as we move in this direction, is that this is the month of Radharani. So somehow, all of these pastimes, they're going to take us to the Holy Lotus Feet, the service of the Holy Lotus Feet of Srimati Radharani. This is the theme. This is the goal of this line. Understand, that's what it is. And anything you see, it may appear on one level to be going in another direction or about something else, but it will always, if interpreted properly, will take you to this singular destination, the service of the Holy Lotus Feet of Srimati Radharani, which is the aspiration of everyone in the Rupa Nuga line and Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And you'll see that although ostensibly it's about Gopal, how it will end up glorifying Srimati Radharani. So he goes on his way to Puri, he stops in Remuna. And there is one deity known as Gopinath. And he sees that, like many temples, they'll have some special thing they offer the deities that's unique to that temple. It's usually a sweet, but it could be something else that's just only available at that temple. And that gives some excitement to the devotees also, to know you only get this here. So they make this sweet, they call Amrita Keli, a type of kheer, condensed milk, and it's beyond our imagination. It says sweet, right? It's some Amrita Keli is what they call it. And he's like, oh, and he thinks, if you tell me how you do these things, when I go back, we can offer things like that to Gopal. But immediately, being the devotee that he is, at no stage does a devotee ever think that they're beyond suspicion or they're free from anartha. He's Madhavendra Puri. And what does he think after, why did I say that? Oh, I know. I'm saying it's for Gopal. But actually, I want to enjoy that. But I'm telling, then I can improve this. Like, what kind of a man am I? Just think, Madhavendra Puri thinks like that. How should we think? So he's disgusted with himself, tries to go into seclusion, taking Krishna Nam, and that night, the pujari, the sevak at the temple, he has a dream. And in his dream, Gopinath appears to him. And Gopinath says, there is a great devotee named Madhava Puri, a sannyasi. And they offer him 12 pots of kheer of this Amrita Keli. He said, I hid one under my dhoti. I fooled you. You thought you had everything, but actually, sleight of hand. He's Krishna. He's omnipotent. He said, so go there. Then the pujari wakes up and it says, he thought it was a good idea to bathe first. That's mentioned. He didn't just run in there. He's been sleeping, like clean himself, tilak, some prayers, knock on the door. Sorry to disturb, pulls up the cloth. See, lo and behold, there's a pot of kheer. So he takes that pot of kheer and so Gopinath, he's stealing from himself. How does this work? Anyway, he runs outside saying, Madhava Puri, is there some sannyasi named Madhava Puri? Madhava Puri, is there one Madhava Puri? And yes, I am that Puri. Oh, you're very fortunate. Gopinath has stole kheer for you. you know, really? And they bring that to him. And I should preface my remarks by saying this, how do we know this? This story, who does it come from? It comes from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After he took sannyas and he stopped in Ramuna on his way to Puri, he told this to Nityananda and the group with him and said, I heard this from my Guru Maharaj, Ishwara Puri, who happened to be a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So the plot thickens. So Madhavendra Puri, he's taking that kheer. It's inconceivably wonderful. He takes all of it. And then the pot, so we're told, you know, tadiyanam samarchanam. What is most dear? Things that are even related to the Lord. So he considers the pot that held the kheer to be worshipable. So we're told he breaks the pot into many pieces and he carries that around in his cloth. And every day, very in a mood of deep devotion, he'll take one piece of that clay pot and eat that, honor it. But he starts thinking that, we're told, the enemy of devotion is pratishta, you know, self-assertion, name and fame, to want to be known as a devotee of Krishna, or a premic devotee of Krishna. So he's thinking, if everyone hears about this, then they're all going to want to come to me, take dust from the feet and offer so much praise. And that is anathema to a pure devotee. It's ironic that those in the lower position are making ostentatious displays of achievement in hopes of gaining renown, right? Whereas the genuine devotees, they're running from name and fame. He's leaving in the middle of the night to try and escape from the reputation that he's has Krishna Prem or is a great devotee. But we're told by the time he gets to Jagannath Puri, that the word is already spread like wildfire, and so the local pandas, they come to him, Prabhu, Maharaj, some service we can do. And he's saying, actually, this happened, but really I'm here on a mission. And he tells them the dream, Gopal appeared to me, how it happened, and we discovered him in the kunja. Then later he appeared to me and said, I need to come here for the sandalwood and the carpet. Oh, we'll be very happy to supply the ingredients for that seva. And in those days, like, just see, it's mentioned there, they have to get government documents, stamped, sealed, you know, customs, duty, importation. They had to deal with that because we think somehow, oh, these things just magically happen. We only have to deal with these things. But they had to deal like with customs and immigration and, you know, duty, tax, the chaudhary, the man who'll assess the value of this and all that. And somehow, by the mercy of the Lord, you know, he had the right papers, he'd show them, and maybe they'd hear this story, the miraculous pastimes of Gopal, and like we see to this day, and then have so much samskar. If they hear some story, they're like, yes, Prabhu, then you proceed. They don't want to tax the Lord and his devotees. So they give him, and it's really like something like 35 kilos of sandalwood and so many ounces of camphor of the highest quality. And he has 2 men to help him, but they have to carry this. When they stop in Ramuna on the way back, Gopal appears again in a dream to Madhavendra Puri. And he says, actually, he said, Gopal and me, same, but different. You know, like a chintya beda bed. So because now Krishna's seeing He's seeing all along, but it's to shine a spotlight on the devotion of a particular devotee. So I think this is enough. He went from Vrindavan by foot, and has all this. He won't have to carry it all the way back. So he tells them, Gopinath and I are identical. So you grind all that sandalwood pulp and the camphor, and you give it to Gopinath. And as it decorates the body of Gopinath, I'll also get relief. So then when Madhavendra Puri tells this to the pandas of Gopinath, the pujari sevaks there, they're of course very happy to hear this. It's like Krishna's maintaining the prestige of himself in different deity forms. And so they do that. Later, Madhavendra Puri goes to Puri. But so Mahaprabhu is telling this. Imagine, so Nityananda is there listening and the others. And then Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda, he said, so Nitai, do you think that there is anyone more fortunate than Madhavendra Puri? And they said, oh, that is so wonderful. But remember the emphasis on rubbing the sandalwood pulp. So then Mahaprabhu says this verse that came from the lips of Madhavendra Puri at the time of his passing, which we're told this shloka really, it comes from the heart of Srimati Radharani in the depths of separation. And Kaviraj Goswami introduces it by saying, it is the supreme shloka of rasa kavya, of all the rasa poetry. So at first we think, oh, it must be something very confidential. It's very deep and mysterious. So in telling it, he says, Kaviraj Goswami says, it came from Radharani, Madhavendra Puri knows, and Mahaprabhu knows, that's three. And he said, there isn't a fourth person who can sort of crack the open and reveal the meaning of this. It's that deep. But saying that, remember, Mahaprabhu also means his line, the Rupanuga line, our Guru Varga. So with this big introduction, and he's saying, it's like as the Kaustuba jewel is the crown jewel of jewels. That's the jewel on the chest of Krishna, the Kaustuba money. He's saying this is the crown jewel of Rasa Kavya statements. And just hearing this, Mahaprabhu would go into deep ecstasy, fall on the floor, be Ganga-like streams of tears pouring from his eyes. And he couldn't even say the whole thing, which is recorded there. It says, Ai dina dayadranata he, maturanato kadava lakshase, hridayam twad aloka kataram, doita brahmyati kim karomyaham. And Gurudev told me once, he said, Guru Maharaj revealed to me, he said, but I will not say. Right? But he said, but emphasis on Deen and Doya. Dina means fallen, and Doya means merciful. Sometimes Srila Gurudev would say, there are two things we are certain of. Number one is that we are fallen. There's no doubt in our mind that we are fallen. But where our hope comes in, as we know, Krishna is Dvaita. He is merciful to the fallen. So then we have some hope, some prospect. So when he would quote this verse, he'd say, Mahaprabhu could only say, Oi Dina, Oi Dina, and then profuse tears coming, falling to the ground. And then now the big reveal, he says, so just as by rubbing sandalwood, remember sandalwood is very hard, and we put the water on the stone, the rose water, or whatever, and then you rub that sandalwood, And it requires a lot of effort and energy on your part. For anyone who ever's done this, there's no easy way to do it. You have to like give yourself to it. And it's saying, so, but as you rub sandalwood, and we just heard about Gopinath, then the meaning by offering yourself in service to this shloka that is personified by Srimati Radharani, then the meaning will start coming to you. Just as Guru Maharaj said, the Saraswati Thakur told us, the waters of Radha Kunda, they are not ordinary water or water in the conventional sense. He said, it is Srimati Radharani in liquid form. And when we're told, bathe in the waters of Radha Kunda, means, you know, dive deep into reality and bathe in the waters of that type of self-sacrifice and self-giving. So, and what Guru Maharaj says, self-dissipation. And to continue this rubbing example, so as the sandalwood is rubbing like that, it's actually diminishing, right? But so in that process, it's being transformed into its essence. So Guru Maharaj says, as we surrender ourselves and sacrifice ourselves in service, then the mundane form is gradually diminishing, and the golden form that's deep in the heart is coming out. So, yeah, so Guru Maharaj saying that in the deep heart's core, that is the region. He said, and there, and it's interesting, he said, you have another body there. That's what he said. In your heart, in your deep heart's core, that the one that's hankering can only be satisfied by connection with Krishna. That's how it connects with Radharani. What she wants can only be satisfied by Krishna. What everyone in her line, her followers, Lalita, Saki, Swarupa Nuga, Rupa Nuga, they can only be satisfied by Krishna. What do you say? Prati anga lage kande prati anga more. Every atom of the soul's hankering wants to find its correspondent. It's only found in Krishna, Govinda. Right? So Guru Maharaj said, so in your heart, in your spiritual heart, there's another body. That's the Swarup that will come out and express its service aspiration. So Kaviraj Goswami concludes that section saying, so if you hear this, remember it started with Gopal and Govardhan, Madhavendra Puri, and where does it end? With the highest shloka of Rasa Kavya that came from the heart of Srimati Radharani and later echoed and mirrored from the heart of Madhavendra Puri and so much appreciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that formed the basis for what Mahaprabhu came to give. He set up this platform. And what is its emphasis? Krishna Viraha. In separation from Krishna, the heart will yield its most superior substance. And just to conclude, and then Maharaj can take us to the next place. There's Srila Guru Maharaj explaining these things, saying that when Gurudev put it very nicely, it's actually a shloka of Rupa Goswami, but Gurudev put it in like one sentence. He said, you want to understand what this is? He said, what is Mahaprabhu's tasting matter? Like that. Just the answer to that question is, what is the Krishna consciousness movement? What is the Rupa Nuga line? What is Sri Chaitanya Saraswati's aspiration? And what is that? He said, what is his tasting matter? The intimate meeting of Radha and Krishna and Braja Gopis? No. What captured Krishna and brought him down here to become enveloped in the heart and halo of Radharani was what she expresses in separation from Krishna. Right? That's his tasting matter. What is Rath Yatra? the zenith point of separation. That's the pastime. Year after year, all the devotees come together. That's the central pastime that they participate in. It's not anecdotal or peripheral. It's central. And I think we're going to hear later, or very soon, the next one, the next zenith point, which is the Brahma Gita, which was spoken upon the visit of Uddhava delivering his message to Srimati Radharani and Braja Gopis on behalf of Krishna to assuage the anguish of Krishna Viraha, or separation, that they were feeling in their hearts. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Mahusudan Maharaj.
Jai.
Very good.
Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Maharaj, when we go to Govinda Kunda, this last year, or earlier this year actually, when we went to Govinda Kund on the parikramas, then when we were there, Maharaj, at Govinda Kund, I actually told the devotees, and I felt it, that if we simply can come to Govinda Kund on our parikrama of Govardhan, if we can come to our mat and Govinda Kund,
yes,
everything will be fulfilled. And we feel it, Maharaj, today also, to Govinda Kund, that we feel that is fulfilled.
I couldn't agree more.
And it is so sweet, Maharaj. And I still have a question that maybe you can answer. Where is Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat? At Govinda Kund on Govardhan Parikrama. Hiding there somewhere, Maharaj. And maybe it's a part of...
Yes, because Guru Maharaj said, it's, Gupta Govardhan, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat, and he said, and sometimes in Navadvip, Guru Maharaj says that sometimes Navadvip is manifesting Vrindavan. Not just hidden, sometimes it's actually manifesting that. So then you can understand that sometimes at Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat in Navadvip, that Govardhan is manifesting. It's not in a hidden position. It actually will express itself there fully.
Jai.
They say that answer. Actually, in Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat represents in the form of parikrama, coming under senior Vaishnavas, because Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat is a spiritual conception. It's a Hari Katha. So Maharaj is talking about this important issue, is Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat at Govinda Kund. Otherwise, what do we think Chaitanya Saraswat Mat is? Is that a shop with books, or is that a temple, or is some living conception? So, a certain time, as Maharaj said, it's revealed by presence as fact, what we've heard today. That's what Chaitanya Saraswat Mat is. And speaking of which, I just want to make short comment on, I'm sorry to break into a conversation. But really, a higher idea will always absorb a lower idea. So if we can follow the principle of our sampradaya, where it begins from divine sentiment of Madhavendra Puri, by which Madhva sampradaya, it's not that it's been discontinued, it's rather been highly upreached by higher divine substance of Mahaprabhu. Because if we look at, let's say, Madhva Sampradaya, we can say, well, it's like iPhone 1. It's an iPhone. But some higher concept came and observed inside Madhva Sampradaya, and it's become Madhavendra Puri, who is actually preparing ground for Mahaprabhu. But later, it actually translates in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabhushan. Because at a certain point, Baladev Vidyabhushan got challenged. Oh, you guys don't have your own commentaries. You don't have your own bhashya. Then he has to answer this challenge. And not only answering challenge, establishing supremacy of, Govindaji worship, which is still up to today worshipped in, Jaipur and obviously Vrindavan, and, by Paramananda Prabhu grace, we've been coming from Vrindavan to see the Govindaji, etc. So So it's Baladev Vidyabhushan who established this, but actually the history of Baladev Vidyabhushan, he's Madhvacharya sannyasi. So he was a great learned scholar, came, met Tattvavadi, accept sannyas and Madhva Sampradaya, become a preacher, and coming to Puri, meeting great Vaishnavas of Mahaprabhu, accepting idea, but fully embracing Gaudiya Vaishnavism at the feet of Vishwanath Chakravarti by hearing his explanation of Bhagavat and Gaudiya Siddhanta and studied Jiva Goswami, etc. So that's where Madhavendra Puri beginning this transformation, but generations after, we see that this is bearing such a great fruit by establishing, yes, we have our own line, and the blame was that, oh, Vedanta Sutra, you don't have a commentary. First of all, it's Srimad Bhagavatam, which is described by Vedavyas himself. And second of all, it's like, he said, well, if you are not seeing that we need to do this kind of divine work, here I am presenting it to you. So we can see this development, spiritual development. At this point, Gaudiya Sampradaya is observing Madhva Sampradaya, and although they can exist separately, but we can understand as a one full trend of the divine pastimes, and later that comes to distribution department, which we're in right now. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Where do we go next, Maharaj?
Well, we have to start up a kirtan, and then we brave the monkeys, because there's always many monkeys on this next part, because the shrewd businessmen, they sell nuts and bananas to pilgrims to feed the monkeys. So
give us the bananas.
All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Peacocks.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama.
Jai, well done. We got past the monkeys, and we've now come to the very tail, the end part of Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill is long and narrow, and it is likened to a peacock with his head tucked into his wing, is that one description that we find. And so we've come to the end, means the one end of the Govardhan Hill, which is the tail end, and it's known as Puchuri or Puchuri. And Puchuri means tail, so the tail of Govardhan Hill. And it looks like some demigods have sent us a view here on the screen, because only they can fly in the sky, right? And see such. And probably where this was launched from was there's a Nrsingadev temple at the end, on a little hill at the end of Govardhan Hill. There is Naval Kund, which is the Kund, ever youthful Krishna Kund, and the Apsara Kund, where the Apsaras are told came, and they wanted to participate in Krishna's pastimes and to see Krishna. So these kunds named in such a way, at the very tail, the Puchuri, the tail of Govardhan. And there is also Lautika Baba, I believe his name. Yes. Lautika Baba. And we only know about Lautika Baba. He's at the very end of the hill. He's got a big mustache. He's sitting there. And the story goes that he's one of Krishna's dear friends, and he cooked lunch for Krishna and Balaram. But then he saw them passing by on the chariot with Akrura, taking Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. And Lautika Baba said, "Oh, I've cooked lunch for you." And the two boys, Krishna and Balaram, they said, okay, we'll come back soon, within a few days. Then we'll have lunch with you.
Oh,
and
no.
It's told he's
didn't
still
come back.
waiting for that time. So at least it's some memory of like separation, some thought of the Brajabasi separation as Krishna. Yeah. So generally we stop there, and if we're with Paramananda Prabhu, then generally he treats the devotees to some refreshment.
Refreshments, yes. I mean.
Hot refreshments, because
does that mean like garam jal?
It does, Maharaj.
All right, okay. Just trying to understand.
Parley biscuit, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also the parley biscuit, still it's in competition with the monkeys. And they also come under the chairs from behind. They're pretty smart. You may have that experience too, Maharaj. They do take us by surprise.
I think so. Right.
All right.
Yes. All right.
So we basically, we are doing the circumambulation of the hill, and there are so many places around the hill, several of which are named and which are known about and have some history, some stories. But the whole of the hill is the Leela Stan of Krishna in so many different kinds of pastimes. And at Apsarakund and Navalkund, it's also told that the Rasa Leelas took place here. So one form of the Rasa Leela. So we know that Krishna is not limited to one place, etc. So everywhere we are going with great caution, reminding each other that we need to walk on our heads as we do the parikrama of the hill, and that we are giving respect to all of these places. Okay, I see we've jumped to Lalita Kund, but no problem. It looks similar externally to Naval Kund and Apsara Kund. We're quite happy to be reminded. Okay, so we'll continue the parikrama and we'll come just, I think, 2 Mahamantras. Kalachan Prabhu, you can do 2 Mahamantras and we will transport ourselves up now coming up the other side of Govardhan Hill and following in the footsteps of many great souls headed by Krishna, Balaram, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda. So let us continue with 2 Mahamantras to zip us along, zoom us along today.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai. So now we've arrived at, let me just check I get them in the right order, Surabhikund. So Surabhikund, and very near after that is Airavata Kund. So Surabhikund is a place where we come to, and it's a general stop to take some water on our head here, and also in connection with Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill, and then Indra being repentant afterwards, all by Leela, of course, but he understood, oh, what have I done? And then how can I get the favor of Krishna? How can I get like free from this and get back in his good books, as it were? And so Indra, of course, very smart, and he's thinking Krishna always is very affectionate with the cows. So Oh, there we are. Look at that. And so is Goswami Maharaj, Paramananda Prabhu, and all the Vaishnavas affectionate with the cows. But Indra is thinking Krishna is very affectionate with the cows. So if I ask Surabhi first to go to Krishna, and then Krishna will hear Surabhi's prayers on my behalf, then surely Krishna will forgive me, coming through Surabhi. So some pastimes like these we hear connected with the lifting of the Govardhan hill, that also, as we know, Surabhi, she bathed with her milk, she bathed Krishna in Abhishek after the whole Leela of lifting the hill, putting the hill back down, and then Krishna being so much praised and honored by all the residents of Vrindavan. So Surabhi Kund is it's a sweet place and a little bit off the general Parikram path. It's a gentle place to go to, as is Airavata Kund, which is just after Surabhi Kund. And Airavata was the elephant of Indra. And it's told that Airavata, he collected Ganges water in this kund in preparation he's the elephant, so he's going to use his trunk in preparation for also part of the Abhishek. Krishna gets bathed with milk, but he also gets bathed with water and cleansed. But Airavata rendering this service through his trunk, and from this reservoir of Ganges water that he collected, then from here bathed to Krishna, Govinda, and as we know, then Govinda Kund manifested from this Abhishek of Krishna, of Govinda. So there's Abhinavasundara Prabhu, I believe. Maybe. He is like Abhinavasundara, not the cow, the person stroking. Okay. All right, Abhinavasundara, excuse me. All right. And then we can have little kirtan and we'll come up. Actually, now we're going to come up through, we'll just pass straight through Jetipur or Jatipur. It's a busy little village now. And it is a traditional, like you say, Hindu place of pilgrimage there. But it's very noisy and cramped. And we generally pass straight through and come right up back to the opposite side of Manasi Ganga. So let us walk. The first part is sandy. The later part is actually still sandy because the government has made a path on the side of the road and quite a bit of a walk. And we're going to come back up to the Govardhan town, the other side of Manasi Ganga. So let's chant 3 Mahamantras to transport us with zoom to the other side of Manasi Ganga. Oh yes, that's where we're going to go.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Very good. 3 Mahamantras.
How do you decide whether it's 2 or 3?
This distance is a bit longer. That's all.
Oh, okay. The walk, the length. Jeez, he's like really doing it.
Like half of the side of the hill. So a little
I
longer.
trust you, Maharaj, with my life.
All right, then Maharaj, we're on the far side of Manasi Ganga. And Maharaj, I think this is a suitable time to come into Sanatan Goswami, where his Bhajan Kutir is, Chakleshwar Shiva, and that area which is called Chakratirtha. Yes?
Yes.
Did you go there with Gurudev? Lalita went there with Gurudev. So can you
then please,
say something about that?
For us.
Well, we were.
Wait, can they hear you?
Can you hear me?
All right.
When we would spend time with Srila Gurudev in Govardhan, mostly we were in the mat, but those who know Srila Gurudev and spend time with him would know that he was very spontaneous and that anything could happen at any time. And as we discussed the other day with Goswami Maharaj, his cane would be tapping down the stairs, indicating he's going somewhere. And we could all jump and run behind him and follow him. And he would go out the gates time to time on special occasions at his whim, and visit Manasi Ganga and take the water and throw it on our heads, and then walk over to Sanatan Goswami's place there and just pay dandavats, give respect, circumambulate. It's his Pushpa Samadhi, right? Or his Bhajan Kutir?
Bhajan Kutir.
Was his Bhajan Kutir and Pushpa Samadhi.
Which one is it?
Bhajan Kutir.
Bhajan Kutir. And always a little bit of walking in the neighborhood and stopping at the nearest sweet shop for sun papre. And Gurudev would bring sweets home for Giriraj and treat all the devotees. So we have memories of spending most of the time with Gurudev in the mat, but time to time he would come out and visit some of the local places.
Garam Samasi. Hare Krishna.
I have a little exclusive story about this place connected with Gurudev.
Yeah.
I mean, I just tried to tell very short, but you know, the chakra on our temple of Govardhan Mat is we made, and Gurudev wants the gold. And I thought, why does he want gold? It went for like 5 years or 6 years. Finally, he told me, go get gold. I mean, it's another story how I got the gold for that chakra, but later I went to Chakleshwar and heard the story when Govardhan Leela happened. Ananta Shah swallowed Govardhan hill, so the water from Govardhan hill would not go on the hill, and chakra appear to drown the water because there was so much Samantaka flower rain that chakra had to dry everything like a sun. After chakra did this service, chakra pleaded to Krishna that I see your pastimes in Vrindavan, so miracle, but as a chakra, as a Vishnu, weapon of yours, I can't really present in Vrindavan, but I really, if you want to reward me for my service, that's my only prayer to stay. So that Chakleshwar place, that's where the chakra were giving eternal abode. And that's why Srila Govinda Maharaj had inspiration to put gold chakra on our dome of the temple, because chakra present in this place and chakra were shining like a gold when it did its work.
Yeah.
So that chakra resigned on top of Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And Gurudev really, really, for years, keep talking about, we need golden chakra, we need golden chakra. And we told, when we go to Thailand, we can do Paramananda.
Russia, they do that gold plating.
Well, we end up doing this gold in local Henchback jeweler store, which is on Loy Bazaar. But so Govinda Maharaj had this extensive thinking of golden chakra, and later at that place, I discovered that story So Krishna is acting through the heart of Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna.
And we haven't heard anything from Keshavananda.
Wait, but we did yesterday. There's another gentleman from England who's the secretary of the London Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, none other than Sripad Devashis Prabhu. And I think we would all be very fortunate if he's, I realize now, like a 40-year disciple of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakak, Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. There's few of these souls remain in this world to this day. And Devashis Prabhu is one such fanatical follower of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, and the secretary of a London Mutt. And Prabhu, if you could say a few words to the Parikramis and all your godbrothers and god sisters.
Yes, Maharaj, by your grace. I was very fortunate a few times to go with Gurudev to Vrindavan and Govardhan. And one morning, I went with him to Sanatan Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And it was just myself and him and Ranajit. That was it. Just the three of us. We went there. And it was very lovely, very, very, how you say, informal, very informal and happy. Maharaj was in a very happy mood. And as we walked around Manasi Ganga, he said, I came here many years ago with Guru Maharaj. And he said, I used to swim in the waters here. And Guru Maharaj was very afraid because there was a big crocodile that lived in Manasi Ganga. And he would always get in a panic, when Gurudev would swim there and say, the crocodile. And Gurudev would say, it's okay, Maharaj, don't worry. The crocodile won't bother me.
Wow.
Then from there, we went to the temple of Haridev, which is close by. And there was just a young boy was the pujari there. Couldn't have been more than like 10 years old or something. And he came and he gave a garland to Gurudev, and we just sat there, had darshan of Haridev. And then from there, we went to Sanatan Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And by the time we got there, other devotees had joined us. They'd heard Gurudev was gone. And so maybe there were 10 or so devotees when we arrived at Sanatan Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And I remember just outside, there was a very old man who was selling kantimala, different types of kantimala. And Gurudev stopped and he bought one of the kantimala from this gentleman. And then after that, we went there and spent some time there. And then when we were coming back, I said to Gurudev, why did you buy the kantimala from that man? And Gurudev said, I recognized that he was a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and this is how he made his living. And I knew if I buy the kantimala, then the other devotees will also buy from him something and help him. And I thought that was a very sweet thing,
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Anyway.
Yes. Jai Devashis Prabhu. Gurudev always appreciating the devotion in others, and with particular respect and regard for the disciples of Srila Saraswati Thakur, because they're the god brothers of his Guru Maharaj. He considers them also Guru Varga, and he's always eager to serve them and even worship them respectfully. So, Mahusudan Maharaj, shall we conclude with a kirtan this evening?
Right, Maharaj. I think that this is the last stop today. We're coming back to Srila Shridhar Swami Seva Ashram, or Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, as it were, in Govardhan. And then today, Prasadam, rest, and tomorrow is a new day and a big day. Means every day is a big day, but tomorrow going down Uddhava Kund and then down to Radha Kund, Shyama Kund, the Parikrama, and then up the other side. Tomorrow is the last day of Govardhan Parikrama, and so we look forward to that. Let us all be fit and ready.
Hare Krishna. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya
Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya
Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite. Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari Niskuta Brinda Vipineshe. Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari Niskuta Brinda Vipineshe. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite. Vrishabhanu Dadhi Navasashi Leke Lalita Saki Gunaramita Bishake. Vrishabhanu Dadhi Navasashi Leke Lalita Gunaramita Bishake. Vrishabhanu Dadhi Navasashi Leke Lalita Saki Gunaramita Bishake. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite. Karunam Kurumoi Karunam Barite Sanaka Sanatana Banita Charite. Karunam Kurumoi Karunam Barite Sanaka Sanatana Banita Charite. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Brajamando Parikrama ki jai. Parananda. Jai Om.
Jai Shri Kshirachor Gopinath ki
Jai.
Om Shivatra Maham Surya Kara Satra Satra Shri Bhakti Sundar Gopinath Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Om Shivatra Maham Surya Kara Satra Satra Shri Bhakti Sundar Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Om Shivatra Maham Parivraj Kara Satra Satra Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Shivatra Maham Shri Gaur Das Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Om Shivatra Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur ki Jai. Om Shivatra Maham Jagannath Das Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai.
Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Jai. 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 Kusum. Jai. Jai.
Worldwide Bhakti
Jai.
Hare
Haribo. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Dandavat pranam to all the devotees. Be refreshed. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Hare